How do you develop an Olympic athlete?
So it's a pretty broad question, how to develop Olympic athlete. You cannot develop Olympic athlete, let's say, coming to sport at age 20 and older, unless sport is relatively easy, it's not developed as much. And there are lots of new sports, I would say. For example, breakdancing was in Paris. Obviously, you can develop probably breakdancing at age 20 or older. But in established sports, which are really require long-term training, you need to start from young age. And first, you need to identify what's your sport, what you're talented for. So obviously, you can kids can do multiple sports, which is great. We don't want kids to be doing just one sport and specialized. All the studies indicate specialization in the sports is not working for young kids. First, it's boring. Okay, you're doing always one sport. Okay, eventually we're tired of that sport. So, but if you're doing multiple sports, kids are identifying themselves what they really like, what they're motivated to do. And some athletes are more prone to do one sport than other, have more talent in one sport than others. But if you look at like a majority, like a great athletes, they can be a talent. They can develop good results and Olympic level results in different sports if they would spend enough time training.
What if we apply that into CrossFit, right? Let's say this CrossFit there's no Olympics for CrossFit, but if you are training, if you want to develop an elite level CrossFitter, what is step one?
It depends what age you start, okay? Obviously, the earlier you can start, the better. But as I told, at a very young age, you don't want to be like a 10-year-old CrossFitter, okay? You want this athlete to do multiple sports. It's more fun. They will be more motivated. Doing, let's say, 3 months summer league, some football, okay? 3 months doing like a running. 3 months maybe doing some other sports. Kids will be overall better developed. And if you also matching their sensitive so-called periods of development with training, that would be even better. What are sensitive periods of development? This is physiological, biological maturation of kids. So we're maturing at different rates, different physical qualities in the body. And there are reasons for that. For example, aerobic conditioning starts improving at the earliest. In fact, earliest probably is improving even earlier than this aerobic conditioning is flexibility. Okay, do we need flexibility? For the most part, yes. However, in CrossFit, when athletes become already older, you don't need flexibility. You don't want soft joints because then you cannot push stronger. You cannot squat stronger. Yeah, but in some sports, you need flexibility. But in general, it's good to develop flexibility at younger age and maintain that later. Later, you can reduce that by not doing too much flexibility exercises. And so then later comes aerobic development, which starts normally for girls at age 10.5 when puberty starts, and for boys about 12 years old. What's the puberty? How do you know that starts at that time? Because it matches well with height changes. If you start growing faster every year, instead of going like a 1 or 2 inches, you're growing already 3-4 inches, that's probably puberty already starts. And that's normally, as I told, starts for girls at age 10.5, boys 12, like an average. And there are variations. You have early matured or late matured kids as well. But in general, gender differences are girls are maturing 1.5 years earlier than boys. And once growth sport starts, that matches with aerobic development. You don't have enough power. Kids don't have enough power at that age. They don't have enough anaerobic enzymes to do good anaerobic quality work. And in fact, if you're not developing good aerobic conditioning at that age, you'll be limited later in your career. And we see that plenty of examples, especially with the sports swimming that I'm working in, including pentathlon as well. If you don't have good aerobic conditioning, eventually you'll be limited in your improvements, and your career results, performance will be limited. You will not reach Olympic level, or you may reach, but that shows that you, even with that bad long-term development, you reached Olympic level. You could be the best in the world by far. Okay, and so then the next after aerobic development comes more mixed so-called energy zone development, which is threshold VO2 max work when the lipid anaerobic system is involved already. So then next one, anaerobic development. comes. And everything is moving by 1 year or so between. Okay? That means if you have aerobic volumes, they increase first, then mixed energy zone energy volumes, then anaerobic, and then strength and power. It's the last that comes.
Strength and power is the last.
Correct. You can start strength and power developing for kids at age 14, 15, even 16 years old. You don't need that too much. What would happen if I missed this of aerobic development or mixed energy zone development? And I'm coming to the sport at age 18, 19, or 20. Can they still be at Olympics? Probably not, especially in the well-established sports, where is the big competition already around the world. But if you are, let's say, as I told you, in the sport that not as competitive around the world, or just relatively new, let's say climbing, okay, or some other sports, relatively new, people with good strength and power, they can become Olympians. Or if they in gymnastics, probably in gymnastics, they already develop good sport as well. And the biggest problem that we see in sport, if athletes not developing good aerobic conditioning at the right time, that they don't have muscles are not recovering as well. Because recovery depends on aerobic conditioning. What is aerobic conditioning? When muscles capillarization is high, and we can deliver more nutrients through the blood, more oxygen to the muscles, which is important for muscles to recover faster, as well as remove metabolic products like lactic acid, inorganic phosphate, hydrogen ions. There is a lot of metabolic products accumulating after doing push-ups, pull-ups, or whatever, or strength training, power and aerobic work. And then you can clear everything that faster and rebuild glycogen in the muscles, which is main source for energy. And if you don't have good aerobic conditioning, muscles don't have good capillarization. As a result, recovery muscles is slower. You will do less quality sets per practice. You will do less quality practices per week. And as a result, obviously, you're improving slower than you could. That's why it's so important to pay attention. If you want to develop good level athlete and even Olympian, long-term development is super important.